Right. Good morning, everyone. I am Amalie Schaefer with Systematic Excellence Consulting. This is the ClickUp Mastery YouTube channel, and today I'm here with Cadri Cunningham. We have been friends for a long time. I actually don't even remember when we met, but it was a long time. It was both when we were getting started, so it's kind of exciting to come back together. I asked Cadri to come on because she works in Asana and I obviously work in ClickUp. So today we're just going to go through some of the basics of Asana and show the differences and similarities with ClickUp. And so basically the whole point of doing this is to help you make the decision on which tool is better for you. And I think not one isn't better than the other necessarily. There's just different ways to do things. And so I think it's helpful to kind of see the differences. So when you're getting ready to make a decision, or maybe you're in one and you're thinking about moving to the other, this will help you make those decisions. So Cadri, will you just introduce yourself really quickly and then we'll jump in to Asana?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Cadri Cunningham, like she said. My business is Simplified Ops Collective, and that's where I help 6 to 7 figure business owners really scale their business with the operations and their team management. So one of the things that we exclusively work with and to keep us on track is Asana. So very excited to be here today. I've not been in ClickUp very much before. I've, dabbled in it, I think I feels like 2 years ago at this point, maybe
Yeah.
And, they've been around for a while and I kind of was like, not right now. And then I left and I never went back. And so I'm excited for this just to kind of get that insiders and we've known each other for a couple of years. And so I'm really excited to kind of see this comparison.
Yeah. And I feel like as operations people, we always dabble in the new tools that come out, but we don't always make the switch. And so I think it's good to check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and add your screen to the video here. So why don't we just start kind of with the basics? So starting with, where you come in, like your home screen, where do you start the day when you're using Asana? And I'm just going to ask you some questions as we roll through this. I just want to, share as much information as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is my personal Asana, and it's a little bit messy because I'm honestly not back here as much because I do work in my clients' Asanas. And so those are a little bit more organized, but I keep all my checklists here. So what I'm going to walk through is kind of what I would do when I come into Asana and like a client's business, or if you have your own business and like what, those steps. So one of the first things that I tell all my new team members when they come into our business is you should be looking at your My Tasks and your inbox more often than anything else. Like those are your two sources that you're going to be able to find all of the information that you need. Your My Tasks, which I might have all read in here. Oh yeah, they're all old.
Yeah.
But they do. I always sort by due date because this is going to give you the best board. And this actually should be all tasks. Okay, so yes, incomplete tasks. So these are my incomplete tasks, and they basically go just straight down from the due date, what's due. So this is like your main source of what do I need to do every single day? And this keeps me accountable, keeps the team accountable, what's coming up. As long as it's assigned to you with a due date, it's going to pop up here. So if you don't assign it or you don't have a due date, it's either not going to show up here or it's going to push it down to like the very bottom because it doesn't have a due date.
Right. And that's the same in ClickUp. Can you click on the home at the top for me? So what is this showing? This is going to be if you have anything due soon or any favorites you've set. Like, do you use the home screen very much?
You know what? I actually don't use the home screen very much. It does come in use though. Like I know my client uses this a lot because she can just kind of come in here and see the top 5 tasks that she needs to do that's coming up. But again, you're going to be able to see that in My Tasks. So that's why I would actually just go to My Tasks.
Okay.
Then my favorites are always useful because these are actually up here. So I normally have this open at all times. So I'm able to just kind of pull that open. So I don't use this too much, but it is useful. You can also go to recent projects. So any projects that you've been in, it just rolling, and it tells you the last time you've been in here. The inbox is really going to be your source of what is happening in the business right now. As in, has somebody tagged you in something? Does somebody have a question? So specifically for me as an operations person who is managing the team, this is really useful for me because I'm able to catch those questions that somebody has because they're in that task and they're like, hey, at Cadri, and they can tag you in it. And I get notification of that in my inbox. So when I start my day, I can make sure that I'm identifying those bottlenecks immediately, answering those questions, and so they can get on with their day. The other things that come up in here are if I'm a follower on a task. So if I've created the task, it comes with a lot of delegation. So when I'm assigning a task to somebody, I am always a follower on it. So I'm going to get a notification that it was completed. That just allows me to say, okay, that was completed. I know that that's done and it's been marked complete and we can move off. So, or
like if a status changes, right? It goes from like in progress to ready for review or something like that. Like you would get a notification anytime anything changes for that.
Right. Literally anytime something changes on that, as long as I'm a follower on it. Now I can become a follower just from somebody tagging me in something. Now I'm immediately a follower and I'll get notification on things.
Yeah.
You can archive it. I don't have any in here right now, but you can archive it and it just moves to your archive list over here and you can always move it back. It's not anything, that just lost once it's gone. You can always bring it back once it's gone.
Can you tell me what the send message is? I see that up there. Is that like a direct message or would that be a message inside of, so that's like is that like a chat?
This is brand new.
Okay.
I don't actually think I have this on my client's account, which is funny, but it actually looks like it is. You can actually
almost like an email kind of, right?
Yeah, and type it and you can add them. This brings me to, I do wonder how this is different than, let's say, up here. I do have messages that I can send to somebody within this project. So if you do have a course launch going on, you can always go to Slack, but if you want to be that type of person who keeps everything in one place, you would have this message section in the actual template that you're using.
Okay, let me switch to ClickUp really quick just so I can show some of the similarities because it's actually similar. There's just some different names. So inside of here, I'm in home. So I actually use the home screen because the home is a lot like my tasks. So I would look at the home screen here where I'm going to be able to see, okay, what do I have due, what's overdue, what's up next, and what's unscheduled. So similar to Asana, the unscheduled are going to be at the bottom, any ones that don't have due dates. You can see any comments, you can see done, and then you can see anything delegated if you've done that.
I love that delegate one. So is that basically anything that you've assigned pops up there?
Yep. You could, So you can assign reminders. Oh, that's going to open it up. But so you can, when you delegate something, so over here, let's say I want to delegate this to someone else and I click on this. I'm going to click on Amalie. Oh, here we go. Oh, it didn't do it. I wonder why. There we go. It should show it in here once you've delegated it. But then it'll show as a delegated item, like if you've taken it off your plate, for example, and moved it to someone else's. I don't know why it's not. Anyway, I'll have to look at that. But you can delegate it and it will show up in delegated. Trending are recent like tasks that you've looked at. And then we have the lineup here. So if you're like going through your day and you're like, you know what, I really don't want to forget to do this, you can go to add to lineup and then you just click on that and it'll put it up here in your lineup. You can add to lineup. You can go through the different tasks, like browse tasks and add them to your lineup for the day. And they'll live here just as a reminder. And over here, you can embed your calendar so you can see. So right now I just have the agenda. So it's just pulling the things that I have due over into my agenda. But you can embed your calendar as well. And then you can like move the tasks around to say when you're going to work on them. And then it'll actually populate the time for you over here.
So that is amazing. Is that your Google Calendar?
Yes, you can integrate your Google Calendar in here. So it would show appointments. This is my test account, so I don't have my Google Calendar in here. But if I did, it would show me like when, like for now, like our hour together, it would block that time off. And then I could schedule the different items throughout the day around whatever appointments I have going on.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Yeah. And again, then so if you put times to these things, like when you're actually going to work on them, then your agenda will have those times. Like, okay, 11:30 to 12:30, I'm going to work on this.
Does it add it to your Google Calendar from ClickUp then?
Well, it depends on how you have it synced. So there's two ways to sync. You can sync events to ClickUp, or you can sync or you can sync tasks to your Google Calendar. The only thing the reason I don't recommend doing the tasks to the Google Calendar is because then it will make it
makes it so crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
so
that's what Asana is. It's like
way.
I can take the Asana and put it into my Google Calendar, but I don't like to do that because, like you said,
right, I do it the other way, so I can get what I have going on in my Google Calendar in ClickUp, because I essentially work from ClickUp as if it's my dashboard, like it's where I live, So the more I can get into it, the better.
Yeah, I love that, because what I can do in Asana is I can assign times, like I can make a task. So like when I'm working with my CEOs, it's like, okay, you have, we have a task for every call that you're on. So it's like, okay, 9:30, 10, 11. But it's not connected to her calendar in the way, like we have to make sure that all of that is added to Asana, and it comes in times, and we can always look at calendar, but I love the way that you can sync the Google Calendar here. I definitely think
it's really nice.
A brilliant thing.
Yeah. So then you were mentioning notifications. So you will get notifications in the notifications center, and you can see, here, if I had a bunch of them, they would be listed here. I can see any ones that I've cleared. You can look at just what's assigned to me if I want to just see what's assigned to me. And then I can get any mentions anytime I was mentioned in a comment. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned we had gone over the chat. So chat is slightly different in ClickUp. So what you can do is you can add a chat view. So right now I'm in list view inside of the client space. So you can add the different views that are at the top, can be on the space level, the folder level, or the list level. But let's say we just want to chat inside the client information list, right? So there's already a chat here. All you do to add that, so you can see internal chat, client chat, you can see the different ones, or you can add a new one. And let's just add another chat. This is chat number 3. This is where you can have the chat. Now, if they respond to you, like if they, at your name, you will get a notification in your notification center that you have gotten that you've gotten a chat response or whatever. So that is, and then favorites, you can do favorites with your different folders. So I can mark things as favorites as well. We'll add this to favorites. So oops, I just removed it. I meant to add, sorry. Let's add to favorites. So then I can start to create my favorites just like you had. So home is slightly different. And I live in the home and the notifications. So let's go back. Let's go back to Asana. Let's talk about like the elements of the hierarchy and how that works. And then we can break it down a little bit into like the smaller, more granular. So like what a task looks like and what's available inside of a task.
So you want me to look at it from like a project view and then go into the task type thing? Is that what you said?
Yeah, let's start high. So like what's like the hierarchy, like the highest hierarchy, and then broken down from there.
Yeah, so our highest is going to be the teams. So you can actually only have teams. So like if you create an Asana account and you're not seeing an ability to add a team, it means that you are not under a workspace, and you would actually want to, I believe it's organization. I'm sorry. You want to be in an organization, not a workspace. And you can actually change. So it's not like if you're in one, you can't go to the other. But if you are in a workspace and not an organization, you're only ever going to see one team. And that's where like all of your projects are underneath.
That would be for like maybe a smaller team.
Yeah, like if you don't need all that, you're just a solopreneur who's just trying to, that's worth it. If you're one of those people that likes to separate things and doesn't want all at once, Teams comes in use because you really can break it down into like your executive, like what's that high level stuff, like my annual planning, my clients, like what are all those, like if you're keeping track of clients in your Asana, my marketing, my agency, like all the operations, projects, services. Then you come down into the actual, because that's just the team. Then you
Okay.
can actually get into the actual projects under the team. And those are your actual, like, these are my tasks. This is where this kind of separates it too when you have a large team, because anybody who's added to a team, if there was more people here, you're going to see their little photos.
Okay.
They're going to actually be able to see all the projects under here.
Okay.
If they're not up here and you just say it's like a VA that you want to come on, or maybe it's somebody like a podcast manager who they only really need to see one thing without being overwhelmed by everything else, you can actually come up here to share, and you're only adding them to this specific project, and that's all they can see.
Okay. Can you give permissions down to the task level? Like, can someone just see a task?
Oh,
So
yes.
that is,
Yes. If I assign it to them or make them a follower of it, they can. Everything above that or outside of it. So like, let's say in here, in this task here, if I had a subtask and I just assigned this person or made them, I commented, I tagged them, they're going to be able to see this task, but this task up here is going to be private. They're not going
to be able to see everything else.
Right. Yeah, they're only going to be able to see their task.
Okay.
They're not going to be able to go around. You can make things public though. So I don't think any of these are private, but if it was a private task, like let's say I added it to my tasks up here and I like something in, this means that it's only my view. If somebody tried to search something, anything, they're not going to be able to find it unless I make it public.
Okay. That's similar to,
like, projects and a my tasks. I always tell my team members like, hey, if it's something that is internal where you don't really care if anybody ever sees your notes about it, you can just add it as a my task. If it's something that the team needs to know about, it needs to be searchable later, you need people, always make sure it's added to a project so that the people who are involved in that task can actually see it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we have the teams and then we have the projects, and that's what they're called. They're called projects, right? The ones that you're clicked on right now. Like this is a project, and this is where you would break down the different phases of it, or like you have key dates. Okay, got it.
Yep, and then each subtask underneath, and then each one. You can go really deep in Asana. I don't know how deep ClickUp goes in their subtasks. It gets too confusing if you go too deep. But
yeah, I agree. You can
under subtasks under subtasks, and I mean you can go for days, but I only like to go one level down, like one subtask, and then in here I will write notes, and like, attach things and stuff. But the deeper you go, the more likely you're going to start to lose things.
I agree. So you can do the same in ClickUp. When I only go one level of subtask deep, and then inside those subtasks, I'll create checklists, right? So the checklist is inside of that subtask. I feel like if you get too deep in the subtask, it gets a little confusing. And at that point, when you've broken it down by one level of subtask, to me, it really, breaking it down even more into subtasks is unnecessary. What you really need is that checklist then, and yeah.
Yeah, the checklist is great because also here too, depending, Asana did this probably about a year ago where you can switch back and forth through like board view and list view. But I like list view when you're dealing with a lot of subtasks because you can simply drop it down here. So when you have a ton of subtasks, you're actually able to view the subtask information on your screen without having to click. Yeah, definitely.
So I see at the top you have overview, list, board, timeline, calendar, dashboard, messages, forms, and files. So can you just go like click through each of those? I think that'll be good. And then I'll switch to ClickUp and kind of go through those different ones. So overview, is that overview for you or is that overview of the project?
So it's overview of the project.
Okay,
so
cool.
This gives you one, like who's in here. This could be just kind of like a, what are we working on? Maybe some milestones, like big overviews. Are we on track, at risk, off track? This is something that you can update as you go. And then list view, of course, is just viewing
what you had, right?
View. Board view, if you're more of like a Trello sticky note type of person. I use both just depending on my mood and what I'm doing. Me too. What it is. Timeline is premium.
Okay.
I think this is something that is great to have if you have a lot of moving pieces because it's basically a GNAT form. I mean, it's, you're able to see all of the projects and dates, and this is great. Calendar is another option with all of your tasks. So you're not going to be able to see any here.
Right, because you don't have anything due.
You don't have anything right here. But one of the things I always point out to people is when you look at the calendar in this project, you're only going to be able to see high-level overview, no subtasks in here. The calendar basically acts as this, like these top ones here. Then anything in a subtask you actually can't see on the calendar unless you go to the main team here. If
and
you
look at the calendar,
team, that's going to give you every single like subtask, everything, but that's going to give you every subtask of everything under this.
Oh, gotcha.
So when you're talking about, like, let's say marketing, that's a great way if you have, like, you know, your YouTube channel and you have a blog post and you just want to kind of see all of those things in one, versus if you have a ton of projects, it's just too overwhelming. But if you want to see high level, like one of my clients has a membership, so we have a lot of like scheduled calls. This calendar allows me to see that high level when the calls are scheduled. I know what's coming up, and that's useful. And you can also do that with My Tasks. If you go up to My Tasks, you can actually see this in calendar view as well.
Okay, that's nice.
Useful. This is actually really new too. I love that.
Yeah, that's cool. Can you go back to one of the projects and go to the dashboard?
Yep. So this dashboard, so again, this is newer on Asana, and it's for the premium, but it's based. So I can't go too much in details because
no, that's fine. Yeah,
I've honestly never used the premium of Asana because I've never needed to.
Yeah.
This is really useful when you have a lot of moving pieces. You can do graphs. And I know ClickUp has this a little bit too. Messages just for the project. Forms and files are basically premium version for the forms. So it's just kind of creating like a Google form, and then it can send it to Asana. Files is going to be anything and everything you've ever attached. So
cool. I like that.
Processes and operations. If you're any project really, if you're doing, you know, images to Word documents and you're attaching those, you're gonna be able to see the whole overview here if you ever lose anything.
Okay, cool. Let me switch over to ClickUp really quickly. So similarly, you can switch between different views. So let me go over to, let's go over here. And so this is the timeline view. I don't have anything due in here. Let me, I can put some due dates really quickly.
Can you how is your color coding, like, goes to the calendar too? So like it says like breakfast here, you know, and that's like a pink.
So I'll show you. Give me a sec. Let me assign these. Okay, so if I go over to timeline view, what I can do is let's see. I can show subtasks.
Oh, I love that. You can kind of
assignees. I can show that. I can show location, parent names. Like you can by list. You can color the tasks by status if you want. Like whatever, however you want to do it. Let me. And then if you click on it, you can then open the task up to see, to see it from there. These are all in gray. Let me go back to my list view and I can change these to like to do, so then you can see. So I go to do, and then let me go back over the timeline view. So then I can see, what I can see those. I don't really like the timeline view personally. I mean, that's just me. I think
timeline view works really well when you're doing a really big project, like you have launch coming up, but on a normal basis, it's something that's probably like tasks do the job.
And then the table view is nice. So that looks a little bit like Airtable. This obviously you can do board view here. And then the other views here you can do workload, you can do mind map, box view. I really live in list, board, and calendar most of the time. That's really where I live. The calendar I really love. So again, I can say like, I want to show subtasks. I want to show any recurring tasks. This is a free account. So some of these are So if I want to see the assignee, maybe the priority, maybe I want to see time tracked. It doesn't have time tracked in there, but this is what it's going to show me if I had those. And
Does
any
it make that
tags.
chart like really big? Like as you're adding those things, does it kind of expand and you see it on?
It'll see how it added breakfast there. So it'll show me. So if I want to move the task to a different, like if this is I want to move it to in progress, like it'll put it there. But yeah, as we add things, so if I, let's see, let's add, I don't know what else I would add. I was trying to think through what I might add on there. Let's see. Oh, let me add I can add a subtask so you can see what that looks like. So see how it shows the subtask?
Oh, do like a little thing. Okay.
Yeah, so you can see, and that's in the to-do status. So you have options there. And again, you can change back and forth through there from the different views. And there was something you mentioned that I wanted to, you can estimate time in a task. You can have the due date. You can do a start and end date. So if this is a start date, let's say it's going to start today, but it's going to end on Monday, you can do that. And then you can actually add actual times to it, which I like if you're trying, if you need to like put things back to back. And there's the time tracking there. One of the things
Asana has a time tracking that you can do, but we can't do a start date and an end date on the free version. You can do it on the premium version.
I gotcha.
I like how ClickUp, you can do that on the free version because not everybody needs the premium.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't do that unless you have the premium. Same thing for like high, low priorities, like only on the premium version in Asana. But I know ClickUp, I think allows you to do that.
Yeah, so you can set priorities here. If you want, where is it? Oh, there it is. My bad. I missed it. You could do urgent, and then you can add other, like you could do a drop down menu of, platform or something like that. And then you can add options here. That's website, medium.com, let's just say, and we'll add the column. And then you can say what platform or something, something like that. You can add colors to those. So you can kind of make this as much as you want. As far as the dashboards though, it is different because you can do dashboards. You just have to set them up in a different area. So dashboard here, you can see like tag usage or tasks by assignee. And so you can do dashboards and link them to any one of either the spaces or the folders or the lists. The dashboard just isn't going to be found in the same way that Asana has it.
But your dashboards, you can create as many as you want.
Yep.
And then connect them to whatever project you
Yeah, because your settings in here, you just select which locations you want it to pull from, and it'll pull from whatever locations you tell it to.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that is where you have to go to the premium version. Like Asana has these, but you have to go to the premium version in order.
Yeah, so this is the free version. We do use the paid version with our team. We have the business one, but everything I do and show on videos is always with the free, just to show people the options. There are some things that you can't do. There's obviously things that help to have the paid version, but you can do dashboards with them. It's just in a slightly different way. So let's look at tasks, like the elements of a task inside of Asana. I know it's very similar to ClickUp, but let's just look at like the elements of a task. So when you create a new task, like what are the different things that you have inside of there as options for information, for assigning, like basically just building a task out?
Yeah, so you always have the assignee, of course. You can have a task with one assignee. I don't know if ClickUp can do that, but if you do actually need to have two people, like you can assign duplicate tasks. So basically you would assign, but it's going to create a task for each.
Okay, you can have multiple assignees on one task in ClickUp.
Okay, yeah. So it would actually create like two different tasks with the same information, but it's going to
Got
be
it.
separate. Now you can always add followers, of course. And these are the people that, of course, like we went back to the inbox, any type of mention, anything happens, you're going to get that notification.
In ClickUp, they're called watchers, where you would just add a watcher, but same idea. Like you can add people to watch it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. They're just kind of those people that need to know, but aren't actually the owner of it.
Yeah.
The due date, of course, you can do add time. You can do like the start time, the end time, of course, just premium. You can set it to repeat, monthly, yearly, periodically. You can get it just every day, every other day, just depending on when you do it. You have projects. So this is where does it live? I use this part a ton just because in Asana, I'm in so many working pieces of things. Yeah. I don't want duplicate tasks. Like I'd rather like say, hey, this needs to be in my quarter plan where like my main, where I can see all the projects, but I also want this to be on my team members board too, so they can see it without having to search through things. So I can normally add it to 2 separate projects.
I like that. Now that's not something you can do in ClickUp. You can do relationships. So you'd still have 2 tasks and just connect the 2 tasks in a relationship. But I like that you can add that to multiple.
Yeah, because I could sometimes have like 3 different projects, just depending on what I'm doing. And it just allows everybody, like, if you update it, then it updates the whole thing.
Yeah.
When you talk about relations, and I guess you'll point this out, but I want to ask is, does it update the task together? So like if they're in a relationship, if this person over here updates it, does it also update that other one?
No, it doesn't. It just links them so that you can go back and forth between the 2. So this is the way, and we didn't really go over this in ClickUp, but ClickUp has spaces and then folders, lists, tasks. That's sort of the breakdown. So if you have a task that's in more than one place, there are automations that you can set up to do that. I always recommend when people are getting started not to do automations until they've really gone through the process of using a system or an SOP or something like that. But you can do relationships where it'll be linked to them, but you can't connect them in that way where they would update in the same place.
Yeah, because then you also have here, we have subtasks. I'll do this really quick. With tasks, you're going to know if something's in here because it's going to pop up a little bubble. So that's how you know that there's information there. Then the other way is if I do task, this will tell me that there's 3 subtasks in here. So it is a good way to kind of know, okay, I have information here versus none of these tasks have information, especially if you're working with a workflow and you're like, I need more information on here. Like, well, there's more information because I see a chat bubble, like you're able to see that part. When I was talking about projects up here too, is when you're doing a ton of tasks, let's say that this task actually is a bigger piece of the puzzle that you need to actually get out somewhere else, you can actually add the subtask to a project. And so I do this every once in a while when this just needs to be on the project board, even though it's a subtask and I don't want to like reduplicate it.
Can you show what it looks like now that you've added it to that project? Maybe put like a due date of today so we can see what that looks like since you've added the
Yeah, absolutely. So this in calendar view will come up here.
Okay.
So and I can also move things. So this will move it on my calendar really easily.
Yeah, I really like that.
It does change it color coded, just depending, really it's the, what the top level is. My pink is the top level right now versus if I remove this, it's not going to give me anything. But if I do a tag, which here, because tags are a thing. And so you can tag a person and it's going to come up as pink here for here.
But when you go to look at the project now that you added those tasks to, they'll just be, where will they end up then?
So they're going to end up, when you go back to the project, they will show here. They won't move out of their sections or anything like that unless you do like a sorting. Like you can always sort by, assignee. I don't have anybody right now, but it will sort it by assignee.
How do you determine, like it went into money in? How do you know that it went there?
So I was just in this project. So I think I was in the course one first. So like if I were to assign these ones, and I always like this because if you have a ton of things to assign, just highlight it.
Yeah, you can do that. And
do that. Same for due dates. If you're like, man, I just need this all on one due date, assign it at once. The other thing is now that I've signed myself to this, I can come back into my tasks and they're going to pop up at the top.
Okay, cool.
This has recently assigned, but really you can do this however, where this doesn't actually even need to be here. This could be like to-dos. Actually, it disappears too. Does it disappear? No, it didn't. But it immediately pops up here for me and pops up on my calendar. Then these, I'll make these, go back over to my in because I have this.
Yeah, I like the bulk editing. I mean, you can't bulk edit everything, but like assignees, due dates, you know, doing all things like that you can, which makes it really
right.
nice.
And you can move things to, so like this here. Okay, so like description, I have, we have tags. So like I said, we can do tags, and you can do as many tags as you want. We color code them. I don't know how ClickUp is, but Asana unfortunately only gives you like 9 colors. So you start to run out of colors really fast. Yeah. Really organized color coding, you do run out of colors fast.
Yeah, so some of them we don't use colors for to help show the difference. Like if we do run out of colors, I don't know how many colors they give, but I mean, it seems to be okay.
Yeah, and we sometimes do that because like colors, if you just do like you know, create a tag for team and you just leave it gray, that's not going to pop up like the pink will, which I think is kind of what you were saying. And then for here, you can also like move them sections, you know, like where does it need to be? You can also, when you select all, it gives you kind of, you know, do I need to move it to a new project or section? Do I need to copy the links to all the tasks? Because Asana does have little, you can grab the link to everything. And when you paste it, it actually pastes as that title.
The link. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
You can also tag.
Yeah.
So like you're just like, you know, make sure invoices, you know, and you can click that if you're looking for something.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So if I'm looking for something and someone's like, man, I know this task was around, I'll just start typing things that I know that I remember it being. And so I can tag it immediately and I can jump over there, you know, and I'm like, here it is.
So let me ask you, when you have an SOP, let's say for us, like we write ours in Google Docs, how do you put them into, like, what's the way that you put them in here?
So this would be a way that I do it. I don't think I have any tags, so I'll show you how I do, because you would basically be like, okay, here is, okay, I do have an attachment. So you would basically, I would attach the SOP in here. Depending on how you do things, you can either have a workflow. So it's kind of like, okay, what's the actual workflow that goes into it? It's, you know, upload it into Facebook, download the video from, you know, Zoom, then upload it, you know, like all those checklisty things.
Yeah.
But if you actually have an SOP where you have the screenshots and the updates, I actually attach that to the task. So anybody can come in here and just open it up and get that information.
Okay, cool. I just want to show one thing in ClickUp about that. So the way that we, that I like doing it is, let me go, because I know I just did a video on this. And no, it's in CRM, sorry. So if I go to here and I want to see, actually, let me open this Google Doc up. I'm just going to grab the link for it really quickly. And we embed. So if you hit the slash mark, you have a bunch of options that you can put in here. So you can do bulleted lists, dividers, you can do all kinds of stuff inside of the description. But what we use the description for is, oh, I just missed it, embed. I put the link, and then it embeds the doc right in here. So the SOP lives here. And then any special instructions, oops, this is from when I was doing my video. That's the other nice thing, is you can email from inside of tasks. So then the emails will live right here, or you can comment. So this is a comment section. So if I'm like, at Amalie, don't forget this, whatever. I spelled it wrong. But anyway, so the SOP would live as an embedded doc right here.
That's awesome. Yeah, because we just have to do an attachment. There's like a little attachment. You attach it to your Google Drive, your computer.
Yeah.
You can go to your computer, Dropbox, all like OneDrive, and you basically just attach it to the task. But you can't see it. Like, I mean, it opens it in Asana, but it opens it up. It's like a different page. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
it opens it up, and then you can open up in Google Drive, but it's not embedded like this.
Yeah. So then you can have it embedded. So then any special instructions we put in the comments, and we leave the description for the SOP if it's like a recurring process. And then here's where we have the checklist items that would be pulled from the SOP. You can do attachments. So you can do attachments here. They have native docs, and I've actually done a video on the docs before, but they have native docs, so you can attach documents here. I like the embedded because then, or whoever's looking at this doesn't have to open it up and go between two screens. They can just see it inside the task.
Well, and then they don't miss it. Like it's like right front and center for them. Like it's like not looking for it. Like here it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and I like your formatting too. You have a ton of different formatting that we don't have. The only formatting that we can do in Asana is, bolding, checklists, numbered lists.
Oh yeah, up here at the top. With
we can hyperlink, of course. I mean, Slack, but nothing like Google's or anything.
Yeah, it could get a little too much, but like you have options. Like I can put Loom videos in. I can, put the Google Docs, Google Drive. I can put website links. I could put a table. There's even, if I wanted to, I can apply a template. I can do link to see relationships easily. So like,
and this is all on the free version, right?
Yeah, this is all on free version. This is all done through the free version. I don't have, this is not paid, so I can assign. I don't know why it's not doing it. That's weird, but
it always likes to fight when you're doing something.
I know, right? Yeah. But anyway, so those are some options that inside of ClickUp. So we are going to wrap up for today. The one thing I do want to just go over really quickly is based on like what we've just gone over, what is your belief as far as someone that's going to lean towards Asana versus, and it doesn't necessarily have to be ClickUp, but one of the other ones, like what makes people lean towards Asana, or what made you lean towards Asana?
So I like Asana because I like the clean interface. Like I think what turned me off and from ClickUp to begin with, and I think it's had a lot of updates in, but it was really bulky for me at first. Yeah. It was kind of like there was almost too much coming at me, and I was like, I just need something really simple. I just need to be able to get this stuff in. I don't want to go in and like do all these little trinkets, because I know a lot of people, especially if you're operations minded, you want to dig into every single little thing. And sometimes it can just get overwhelming. That I like Asana just because it's very clean. It allows me to do a lot of different things. And just really be able, I just love the checklist. I love being able to put things in different places. I love having the teams. There was really no other reason for me not to like Asana, like ClickUp. Like it's not like, it was just, I checked into it. I was like, ooh, this is way too much for me right now. Yeah. Let me go back to Asana because one, I know it's easy to see and all my information is in here. So I don't think, I lean towards it for any other reason besides it was just kind of simple for me at the time. Just needed something with a to-do list. And now they've added so many more things. So I think if you're like really just starting, and that's why I think a lot of people lean towards Trello at first, is because it is very simple. Like it's just, here's your checklist. Like that's all I need for right now. But as you start to grow into a team, you need to switch to something that's more, team friendly, whether that's Asana or ClickUp or maybe Monday, something more in depth. And then when you get to that dashboard and stuff, man, I'm looking at ClickUp over here and being like, that almost is kind of that next level of like, I need that dashboard. I need to see team management. I need to see all of those actual details. That's when you start to like look at all those other features and say, now I'm ready to get into all those things. And that's where I'm kind of seeing the difference there, It's like,
and with the dashboard, and with the team with the dashboard is nice is because you can pull timesheets, you can pull you can look at track time, like estimated time, and then against how long it actually took them. So like that's something that we've been working on, is making sure that we're getting accurate about our estimated time, so you can know how long it takes to do things, to plan, going forward, things like that. And I think Asana has improved a lot since I used it. I mean, it's probably been 4 years since I used it, but it's improved so much.
Consistently. The only thing with Asana is just that premium version. You really like that premium version. In order to get a lot of the things that I'm noticing ClickUp has just in this like little thing, you got to pay for the premium version. Yeah. So it's not that it's lacking. It's just do you take that next step into, you know, how much do you like Asana, and have you, you know, do you want to go up to there because it is useful? You get that timeline, you get, you know, just so much more versus, you know, you got the free version over here, and it depends on where you're at.
And I think regardless of what system you use, it's important because even Asana could be overwhelming when you're trying to put in an SOP or a process or a workflow or something. But the most important thing is to make sure that you have it written out somewhere. Like that's something I talk about a lot is like, and I think that's why ClickUp absolutely can be overwhelming. Like I absolutely admit that. And so the way that we prevent that is make sure that we have the process worked out on a Google Doc or somewhere, and then take it and put it into the system. And I would think with Asana, it'd be the same way. Any system that you're using, instead of trying to build it while you're in it without really knowing what you're trying to build, it can be really confusing and overwhelming. I mean, even in Asana, the breakdowns of teams with the different projects, and do you have multiple subtasks, or, you know, do you use checklists or whatever? You know, it's like, you really need to know what you're trying to achieve first before you go into any system and try to build it out. And I think that's the most important thing. So
yeah, exactly. Because Asana, I just know from personal experience with, you know, people who have never been in it, and I'm trying to stick them in it, you know, like you got to take it slow. You know, it's like, here's Asana, focus on one thing, look at the outcome. Like you said, like what's the outcome that we want to get to, and does it, you know, work towards it? Because they're both, just depends on what you need them for. Depends on how much you want to dig in, and starting small and then slowly, gradually adding more and more and more as you get used to it. Because any project management system is just kind of, it works when you're able to not feel overwhelmed with it, because the more overwhelmed you feel, you're not going to want to go in there because you're already overwhelmed. And then it's piling and a bunch of red tasks. It's like, start small so that you get used to it. Even just starting a daily task of check Asana, check ClickUp, and you're just in there every day, just marking it complete to get used to it. And then you slowly increase as you get, you know, more and more, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you're transitioning from one, like just move one thing at a time, like one full process at a time, and then maybe one full client at a time, versus like moving a little bit. So then you're like half in one, half in the other. Like I've seen that happen. And I've been working with a client who's transitioning to ClickUp, and they're like, well, when do we move the client over? And I'm like, well, you have to let the client know you're moving to a new system, and it all needs to be done at one time, right? Because you don't want to have like the client trying to be in both, or the team members being in both. So it's like, just take one step at a time and get it built out in the new system first, and then move everybody over. But keep using your old system until you get the new one built out, versus trying to be in both at the same time, because something's going to fall through the cracks.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it is one of those things, like, how do I move over? And so would you actually suggest, like, let's say I was like, you know what, I want to switch to ClickUp. Should I actually take my, like, Asana allows you to download like almost like a spreadsheet. It's like an XLS file or something like that, JSON file. And then so it comes into a spreadsheet, and then you can upload it.
So with ClickUp, you can actually do a migration from Asana into ClickUp. So it'll pull them over. Same thing with Trello. I can't remember the other ones it pulls from, but you can migrate over. And then the only thing I noticed, so I did a migration for someone from Trello to ClickUp, is that things are organized slightly differently. So you do have to go in and kind of reorganize it based on like ClickUp's hierarchy and things like that. But you can get the information over. What I recommend is like bring it over and then just start in one place, right? And get it set up first. Keep the team and the clients in Asana, get everything set up, then do a call with the team, go over it, do some training on it. Same thing with the clients, let them know, hey, we're moving to a new system, do a training on it, maybe a call with them, something like that. But I would do one full process or one full project or client, like where you don't want to leave it half done. So whatever it is. So if it's your blog production process, you want to move that whole process over, get it all set up, then start using it there, you know, versus like, oh, well, we have the content calendar in Asana, but the blog production process, and you know what I mean? Like you want to move the whole thing over like one at a time. I recommended, like for my client that I was helping them move, they're actually moving from Basecamp to ClickUp. I'm sorry, from Basecamp to ClickUp. I recommended doing their internal processes first. So they started to move those over, got the team over. Then they're going to do one client at a time so they can make sure that it gets over, it gets moved, the client gets trained, the team gets trained. So they started internally first, and then now they're moving clients over.
That sounds like probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Well, Cadri, thank you so much for being here. We will be back here next week on Thursday, and we're going to go in depth more of like taking a brand new project and planning it out in both ClickUp and Asana, how we would go about doing it, just to kind of give everyone a review or just like a breakdown tutorial of it. So again, I'm so grateful that you agreed to do the 2 shows with me. And where can people find more information about you? And I'll include your website link in the show notes and everything, but do you want to let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to simplifiedopscollective.com, and that is my website. You can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/ I believe it's Simplify with Cadri still. They are fighting with me for the past 3 years, and they will not change my Facebook name. So that is what it is, but it is Simplify with Cadri on Facebook, but my website is Simplified Ops Collective, and I am a director of operations, and I do help 6 to 7 figure business owners just scale their businesses, team management, operations, and really helping them get to the next level with their operations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And the links for Cadri will be in the show description, along with a call. If you're looking for one-on-one support from me to book that call, that link will be below. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love this. This was great. So
awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.